Going live. Now we are live. This is the very first episode of Stolen Oxford, which is a Malice in Sunderland spin-off game. And the name of this episode is Press Start to Play. So, are you guys all ready to press start?
Yes.
All right. Set in Oxford, UK, in the late 80s. We have a fantastic cast of characters. Would you like to introduce them now?
Yes, everybody
And
does.
we're all suddenly
Sure.
deer in headlights.
You guys are like, Okay.
No.
Ah! Okay. Well,
How
then we won't.
about
I will
now?
just let you guys go.
Do we have a scene maybe where we are?
You're hanging out wherever you guys like to hang out. Probably a little campus coffee shop near the hold. Maybe not even a coffee shop. It is the 80s. It's a little pub. A little pub with fantastic luncheon.
Coffee did also exist in the 80s, I'm sure, even in Oxford.
Yes.
Well, yes, I know. Yes.
But the prevalence of coffee shops.
Right, coffee shops
Whether
are
I
a
am
thing.
a coffee shop or in a pub, I am, in fact, sipping coffee. Paige is sitting there. Paige is a tall, lean woman with dark skin and ringlets of brown hair in her mask. But her face seeming, she looks like old parchment paper with arcane writing on it.
Is the writing in ink or in blood or what?
The writing is in ink, and her fingertips are ink pens.
Oh, nice. Okay. Who else is there?
I'll be there with her. I'll be sitting, drinking a coffee as well, and sort of hunched over into myself, reading a magazine. I am playing Hitch. Hitch is inspired by a Link from A Legend of Zelda. So in his mask, he is just a couple inches taller than 5 feet. He's got long blonde bangs that kind of fall into his face. He is more pretty than handsome. He's wearing kind of scummy clothes, a green hoodie with tights and boots, and a scummy white flannel or thermal underneath it with fingerless gloves and a green stocking cap. He looks very uncomfortable and is kind of like pushed himself into a corner and is kind of like looking at people around.
He is mostly hunched in that corner because there is a hulking mass sitting next to him, taking up most of the booth. That is DJ Slater. He.
I can't believe you named your character TJ Slater. Oh my god.
That is awesome.
He is a hulking mass of a changeling composed entirely of instruments, and he is currently reading a Rolling Stone magazine.
What does this mask look like? Tell us.
He just looks like a fat Pakistani guy.
A fat Pakistani guy.
Less fat, more husky. Meatloaf-esque.
Husky.
Meatloaf-esque.
Okay. Meatloaf is not
He
bad.
has a meatloaf-esque figure.
Okay.
He's big, but he can.
He's
handle himself.
imposing. He's imposing.
He's not like Fall Guy who couldn't handle his own mask. This guy knows what to do with his
Fall
body.
Guy was a fat guy?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. He was a,
I always saw him
why do you
skinny.
think he didn't like running around and doing things?
I thought he was just lazy.
Well, that was a result of that.
Okay. We're done fat shaming now. Let's move on.
All
Who
right.
else is here?
I think probably Ming Shan would be sitting, let's say, yeah, probably next to. Were you sticking with Hitch for your character's name, Joshua, or
Yeah, I'm going with Hitch.
Hitch? Okay. Yep. She is a Chinese woman, and I'm not really sure that I decided what kind of things she would be wearing, but she is a sand herald, so her mien is that of a being made of sand. She's probably not paying attention to what the other people she's sitting with are doing, but looking around the rest of the pub.
Nice. I guess that just leaves me, huh?
Wait, James, did you describe both Mask and Mian?
Her mask is mid-20s Chinese woman.
Oh, okay.
Medium
Sorry,
length
I
hair.
didn't think you talked about her changeling. Emmy?
So Miles is there. He's probably not even going to pretend to just like drink coffee. He'd be drinking something alcoholic. He is in his 30s. He is his mask looks like a tall, well-toned man, dark hair, dark eyes. He looks tan with it in his mask, but for his mind, he's very he's tall and he's really, really lanky and thin and pale and but still with like the same facial features and still the dark hair, dark eyes. He wears glasses. He looks a bit
Like
thin,
round doctory glasses?
but,
Or like horn-rimmed frames?
yeah, probably similar to like doctor glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I should mention, I guess my mien is kind of like elfish, and I'm all in hunter's hedgespun.
Ah. Okay. Right, so pointy ears and kind of impossibly pretty hair.
Pretty much, very delicate.
So Miles is tall and thin and pale with high contrast features in his man. Does he wear bloody gloves?
No, nothing like that. He actually you almost wouldn't tell that he was a doctor. He's just basically wearing like a long sleeve shirt, a leather jacket.
So his man doesn't have any suspicious stains anywhere?
No, not even his.
Really?
No, not even his mind has anything that would show you what he is like in that sense. No.
I
How
wonder.
about his teeth?
I wonder what
Yeah.
he paid into who to get that taken away.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, what are his teeth like? Do they give him away at all?
They're probably a little bit sharper, but you know, it's not like he actually ate anyone or anything like that. He just, you know, and when he was working, he always wore all of the right stuff for it, gloves and the you know, the surgeon's outfits, everything, washing down very carefully.
He was very sterile.
Oh, extremely.
Does he always smell ever so slightly of bleach, just a little?
He would probably smell a little bit more like flesh.
Ooh.
Sexy flesh?
Like living,
No,
recently
no,
dead.
no,
Fetid
not
flesh?
dead.
Like
Not-
just
not-
that tiny, like the coppery tang of blood, just a little bit.
Smells like a
Slightly
man musk.
kind of smell.
Yeah, like it's that kind of scent that like would make you think of an operating room, like the blood, but also kind of a like cleaning, like a sterile scent as well.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, what is the topic of conversation? Who's in the Rolling Stone? Who's on the cover of Rolling Stone this week?
Lisa Monet. I was looking at.
Oh, you were looking
I
at.
was just looking at Rolling Stone covers.
All right. So Lisa Monet.
Yeah.
What magazine is Hitch reading?
Oh, Hitch is reading Popular Science.
Huh?
Oh, I see. So,
How
what
did you have your own
cool
bookshop?
science stuff is currently fascinating him?
He's looking at pictures of dinosaurs with feathers.
In 1989?
Yeah.
Did we know
It's
that
that
back
one
then?
where they have stripy scales and feathers. It's the first iteration.
I did not know that we knew that far back.
We do now.
Yep. What is Paige reading?
The Odyssey.
The back of her left hand.
And she's giving disapproving glances to everyone else who's reading that modern trash.
Oh, I see.
Is she giving a disapproving glance at somebody who's not reading anything at all?
Wow.
Yeah.
I would be reading some sort of magazine for like doctors, surgeons, that kind of thing. Anything
Popular,
with like especially if,
Oxford Journal of Medicine?
maybe, especially if they have any diagrams.
An anatomy book or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Penthouse, for example.
There was someone hanging out with you. A very tall girl with dark hair. And in her mien, she has glinting amber eyes and sharp little teeth, and a series of tattoos in geometric patterns all over her body, and freckles just splashed across her face. And she was curled up in the booth next to Hitch, kind of like tipped over and leaning on him a little. And she always sits with one hand wrapped around the other wrist, where she has a name inscribed around her wrist, and she tends to cover it up as a matter of course. She was sitting there, kind of just leaning her head on him and humming softly to herself. But a few minutes ago, she got up and left. No one really paid much attention, because she's always just kind of around.
Too bad, Tinkerbell.
What?
Too bad, Tinkerbell.
Exactly. She always tends to be where he is, and he's always kind of glad to have her there, even if he doesn't really notice when she leaves. Yes, you do. You know her. She's just always kind of around.
And what's her name?
What?
What was her name?
Her name was Ululation.
Thank you.
Yep. And she has kind of been attached to the group from the very beginning. She came out around the time the rest of you did. So she comes back after a few minutes, and her eyes are kind of flitting this way and that. And she says, "Hey, listen."
Oh, no.
It's kind of a catchphrase for her, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
What is it?
What you just said.
Well, I mean, I'm waiting for her to explain
Oh yes.
now that we're listening.
I just got a message from people. We have to go. You know,
Those people?
those people.
Alright.
We should go in. We shouldn't keep them waiting, right? Right? I mean, we should, unless you want to, we could just drink more coffee. I like coffee. She really
Yeah.
likes coffee. It's the only thing that ever gets
Yeah.
me to chill the fuck out a little.
Probably
Better
best.
Hitch will
Jedi.
slam his cup and put it down, and then kind of roll out. He's not rolling in a somersault, but he slips out of the booth, and is on his way towards the door.
Okay. And she scampers to keep up.
You know, you could have just asked me to move. I know I'm big, but I can still get out of the booth.
All right.
Sorry, DJ.
Fuck Christ.
Okay, DJ.
Are you coming, DJ?
Coming.
Are you coming, Paige? You can continue.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just
You can finish your coffee. I mean, maybe. You might be mad.
no. Yes.
Hope this doesn't take too long.
Literature. I just wanted to finish this book.
How far is she through the book?
Halfway.
Through the latest reading, I'm sure she's read it dozens of times.
Yes.
Just DJ. Just,
And in her brain, let me just finish the.
oh, fuck off.
Let me take 12 hours and just finish this book is a perfectly reasonable request in her
Oh
brain.
yeah, totally. You would be fine in Sunderland, right?
No.
How about Miles? How does he react?
He would basically be like, why? Why should we even go?
Because you've been asked.
So, what have they done for us? They use us and then get rid of us as soon as we're not useful to them anymore. And what? We're suddenly useful to them again? I call bullshit.
Maybe you can bring that up at the next meeting. I'm sure they'll go over real well. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I lower my glasses and look at her and just say, "You're welcome to not go, but that's how we lost Missy." And then I push my glasses back up.
You realize she's just like, she has the "oh, in their face. She's just like, her eyes are flitting between the two. She's starting to get a little nervous.
Even I couldn't save Missy.
Miles, it's probably for your own good. I mean, I know you're not going to listen to me, but that's my advice.
I'll go, but only because I'm curious. Not because any idle threats like that actually worked on me.
Don't think they're idle.
Well, we don't want to seem, like we're not contributing, right? You know.
Though, Miles, I do greatly sympathize. I'm going to have to restart this book.
You was just like, ah.
You can't pick up where you left off?
That's never as fun.
Are you coming? She's asking Mingsha.
Oh, yes. I already got up and was getting
Oh,
ready.
okay. Alright. Well, she will scamper off to Scoot and catch up with Hitch. Kind of giving slightly nervous looks back at the rest of you.
I mean, what do you think, Ululation? Should I save my spot?
I think if you've got a chance to save, you always should. You don't regret it if you don't.
He goes, I don't restart in the middle of a song.
Hmm.
Hey, what
Well,
the fuck do you want to know?
you've elected to save. You haven't. Got it.
It's better than starting all over, right? And losing all your progress so far.
I feel like I've done that once, though. No. She shakes her head.
It never makes much of a difference for me. Okay.
Well, let's get this over with.
All right. How do you guys get around town? I'm wondering. Does someone
The
have
bookmobile.
vehicles, or do you all have bicycles, or
Bookmobile.
is there someone who is the car of the group who has a? We don't have a Benji-mobile in this game.
We
I
don't
got
have
Hitch has a skateboard.
A what?
A skateboard.
You don't have a
Of
horse?
course he does. Of course he does. He has a skateboard.
It's on the bed.
God damn it! I should have known. Apparently, DJ has a van.
Slater has a van.
Okay, so I'm saying everyone piles into the van. Hitch refuses, and he does that thing where he skates alongside the van and he's just holding on to the big mirror on the side. And DJ's yelling out the window, "You're gonna get yourself killed!"
Slater looks out the side. It's like, I fucking hate him when he does this.
And Hitch is just like, "It's fine. You can go faster."
Come on. Let's get the fuck out of here. I fucking hate it here.
He just hates it there because there are humans around.
Yes.
You mean this part of town?
Yes. And every part of town. On this side of the hedge.
Is it raining today?
Flip a coin.
Heads.
Raining.
Freaking A.
It's
Umbrella.
it's kind of that really pretty misty drizzle sort of thing.
I put on clothing so it looks like I'm like a Maine fisherman. No water is
yellow.
going to touch my skin. I've got
Goggles.
these huge freaking hat, the big puddle jumper boots, and overly long raincoat.
And it's just like misting a little, and Paige is just like, nope.
Exactly. And she has an umbrella.
Okay, ululation doesn't protect yourself from the rain at all. She kind of like pulls up a hoodie, and by the way, so Hitch has a green hoodie. She has a red hoodie.
Okay.
It's exactly the same
Aw.
hoodie. Same size, same design, got it at the same place. Hers is red.
I just look at the two of them. You're going to catch your death of cold.
It's not so bad. Come on. It's fine.
And she has a bicycle. It's one of those kids' bicycles, only it has the handlebar and the seat jacked up a bit so that an adult can ride it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have my
Are
own
there pegs
umbrella.
on it? Does she have pegs?
Oh, like cards in the wheels and stuff like that? Oh, absolutely.
No, like pegs on the back so two people
Oh.
can run.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Of course.
Okay, awesome.
Of course. And she's got like cards in the wheels and stuff, and she has like a hook to put her pack on the front.
Awesome.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
flowers.
she's on her bicycle behind the van, and sometimes she rides on the other side of the van and holds onto the mirror on that side. And she's used duct tape to decorate her bike. So where you're headed is one of the big Oxford libraries. Now, needless to say, this is Oxford, so there are some huge-ass libraries, big as a warehouse with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books. This one in particular is is actually the periodicals library, because most of the year not a lot of people go in there, so it's actually perfect. So what you have to do is find a very specific volume of the New England Pulmonary Journal of a certain
Pulmonary?
year. New England Pulmonary Journal, someone write it down. It's a periodical. It's actually quarterly. Well, actually, it's New England Pulmonary Quarterly, or something like that. And it's 1932 spring. So
Oh, that's
spring
super old.
1932. You have to find that, and if you pull it out and turn to a certain page, there's a picture. There's a photo of a woman laid out on a table, and she's got her chest opened up. And there is a very small replica made of a human heart, only made of wood, laying in her chest cavity. And it's just in this page of like strange medical findings. And so it's very, it's a black and white photo because it's the 30s of a woman with a heart that looks like it's made out of wood in her chest cavity, which is all split open, with the lungs set aside and the rib cage opened like a pair of grasping hands like that, and everything pinned aside. And if you push your finger onto the heart and speak a set of nonsense words, which happens to be the 5th verse of Jabberwocky, that's how you enter.
Beware the Jub bird and shun the frumious Bandersnatch.
Is that the 5th verse?
It's pretty close if it's not.
I'll find out.
Yes, James is going to find out. So, Eddie, go ahead and do any conversation as you are waffling through the stacks.
It is beware the Jabberwock, my son. Or the fifth line, or
The 5th verse.
oh, the 5th verse. Oh, that's the 1, 2, 1, 2, and through purple blade.
1, 2, 1, 2, and through. His vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back.
That's the one.
I know the whole thing, I just didn't know what the 5th verse was. So, if you recite that, then you basically go down 2 stacks and over 1, and you can push, and the whole section of bookcase will push back and slide aside, and you can enter the freehold. I think you can enter as a group if you're all touching each other, and you have to touch each other as you go through the stacks and enter. And so ululation begins the chain.
Basically, we just look like a bunch of assholes holding hands.
Yeah. It's okay. It's a periodical library. No one's gonna. Unless it's.
Ululation grabs Hitch's hand. He's like, I can't get used to you being this big.
Do you mind me being big? Is it bad?
No, it's fine. It's just weird.
I'm taller than you,
I know, but geez, you were a sprite.
We're in a library. Shh.
I kind of like painting. Besides, Paige is bigger too.
I'm actually smaller.
Well.
Hey, Paige, call me your tits.
Of course you are.
I wonder what the origin of that phrase is. Such an odd
What is the etymology?
phrase. Like,
Of what? What
call me
phrase?
your tits.
What was that?
Call me your tits. My tits? Really?
Maybe they're excitable.
Yes, your tits. Calm them.
Just... So odd.
This place is so stupid.
That's the way they want us to go in.
Let's go.
Shoot, have we been here before?
Oh yeah, this is the Freehold. This is basically the Changeling Community Center of Oxford. Well, it's one of them. There's another place where changelings can go and hang out, but it's kind of more like a hidey hole / safe place. This is the place where the monarchs hang out, where all court business happens, this is, yeah, it's Changeling Community Center, basically.
This is a swimming pool. They have aqua lessons, aqua Zumba.
Actually, I kind of like that.
So is this in the hedge? It's in a hollow, right?
Yes, it's basically a really big hollow.
Cool.
And there are entrances to the specific suit hollows in other places in town, but this is how you get into the Great Hall. So.
It's called the Great Hole.
The Great Hall.
Oh,
the Great Hall.
Okay.
You can call it the Great Hall and see what
The
this
great
is.
and high hole.
Yeah. So yeah, she kind of wiggles her hand, her fingers in Hitch's hand and gives him a look like he.
Don't be a weirdo. Let's just get inside. I'm sick of being on this side.
There's
Hitch.
nothing wrong with this side. It's where the cake is.
Yeah,
You're a couple,
let me
don't
listen
deny it.
too.
You like cake.
Yes. I like cake.
Well. So.
Go, come on.
Okay. So you get through. The Great Hall, not gonna lie, it looks like the Great Hall straight out of fucking Harry Potter. It's as British as a thing can possibly be. It's decorated with markers of the season, whatever time of year it is. It's decorated, it has big long tables, and then there's a big head table. It's got whatever kind of garlands or whatever, and there are people coming and going. That's basically it. And there's a little gathering space at the front with like sofas and chairs. And there's a huge roaring fireplace between the hall and the kitchen.
Oh, nice. I'm going to go up to the fireplace and dry myself off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
My hands are a bit damp after walking outside.
Yep. So I should say basically like there's a gathering place. Wait, the head of the table would be near the kitchens. I'm gonna have to think about this. Maybe there's just like a hangout room to the side of the Great Hall that has another fireplace. Anyway, and then the big fireplace is behind the head table. So anyway, the Great Hall, lots of tables. It's basically an eating room. But then there's a side place that kind of has sofas, and it's just basically a reading room. And there are books, and there's an enormous globe that people constantly map out the hedge on this globe. So it's just the Oxford hedge, but basically people are constantly plastering more and more paper over it whenever something changes. So it started as like this big, and now it's kind of this big and kind of lumpy and uneven a little bit because some parts of the hedge change quicker than others. But somehow one of the engineers at the court has somehow managed to get it kind of hovering in this beautiful tooled brass stand. And of course the stand is as nice as really old college-owned stuff tends to be, and it's all exquisitely tooled brass, and it's got like sirens and harps on it and stuff like that. It's this beautiful statue. And in the middle of it, it's kind of like a crescent with a big heavy base. And in the middle of it kind of floats this constantly changing globe that's all made of plastered over paper. And there are books and maps all over the walls, and there's a big roaring fire, and there are cushions and like really overstuffed chairs, you know, like you would expect to find in some Victorian fellow's study, like really huge old wingback overstuffed chairs. In other words, this is basically Paige's dream place.
But
Yeah,
I'm
Hitch does the
ignoring
same thing.
all of this for now, except for that stupid map, because I get a bee in my bonnet anytime there's been changes, so I take a look at it for the latest changes.
There's a change. There's actually a pretty amazing change.
Hitch is going to join her.
Okay,
And he has visibly relaxed since they crossed the threshold.
right. And as
Really?
they do cross, Yulu gives his hand a little squeeze, like, there you go, like a little encouraging, yeah, you're home, kind of.
Can I tell why he's so much more relaxed than he was before?
I would say this is a normal thing, right? Like, fairly typical. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't know why if he's never explained it, but you would know that he's always a little on edge when he's in the mortal world, and he's not when he's in the freehold or the hedge.
Oh. Okay, it's just an extension.
I get the
of that.
feeling it's remarkably consistent, correct?
What's up?
And this dichotomy is remarkably consistent?
Very consistent, yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know why you complain so much.
Goblin!
And there's usually some kind of food laid out on the big table. It's always so inconsistent. Sometimes it's like something somebody got from a supermarket, like bologna and hot dogs, and sometimes it's just this huge hunk of roast lamb. Like sometimes it's like really like beautifully cooked, like fowl and like leeks and watercress, and sometimes like little triangular watercress sandwiches, and sometimes it's like hot dogs or like bread and Vegemite, or Marmite rather, because it's the UK. This afternoon it's roast unicorn with a golden apple in its mouth. Ooh, okay. Alright.
Jeff really outdid himself today.
Yeah, when Yula sees it, she goes, oh! She just instantly reacts.
Good catch.
And she, like, her high tops, her Converse high tops are always unlaced. So the laces trail behind her and she trudges over to it. And she can't stand to touch the unicorn because they used to hang out with one. It's awkward. But she notices there's a bowl of pretzels as well. So she starts basically shoving handfuls of pretzels into her kangaroo pocket of her hoodie.
Pretzel's awesome.
She shoves a handful in her mouth and then shoves like a couple handfuls in her hoodie until she has this like bumpy tummy bulge.
How many pretzels are left?
A handful or two.
Paige
Like
grabs
that.
a handful of pretzels and also saves them for later. She will grab the apple and save that for later. She will actually grab a few bites of the unicorn.
Okay.
Is the horn attached or detached?
The only thing to suggest it's a unicorn is that they're in the head. There's kind of this indent, like something has been sawed off.
Oh, how disappointing!
Really?
The horn is the best part.
Oh my god! I really did not. I did not expect eating unicorn to come up in the first session of the game. Damn.
I grab a hoof and hand it to the doctor.
I want everyone who eats the unicorn meat to make a note of that in the chat, please. It's not a big deal.
Sure.
Write it down.
How about if someone just takes some of the unicorn meat and stores it for later?
If you consume some,
That's
at any
weird.
point, write it down.
Like cutting off a piece of ham and putting it in your pocket. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
I'm not putting it in my pocket.
Kleptomaniacs.
I'm drying it for later. It's going to be
Oh my-
unicorn jerky when I'm done with
Unicorn
it.
jerky. Oh god! Oh my god!
Nice.
So, as an intrepid adventurer at home in the wilds, would I know whether unicorn meat was good or bad to eat?
It depends on what kind of unicorn it is. And how
Okay.
the chef prepared it. I'm gonna say it's kind of like fugu, where if it's made right, it's like the most divine thing you could ever eat. If it's not, well, that's kind of how it goes.
There aren't any
You might
bed
know
or...
this. The others do not.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm assuming Paige may know it as well, but I don't think that would stop her from eating some.
Yeah. Okay.
I pull some pretzels out of Ulu's pocket while I look at the map.
She lets you, of course. She always lets you feel her food. She kind of gives me this forlorn look, like, ooh. This puppy look. So the map.
Oh, look at that. That's different. Hitch will say as he points to something that's been plastic.
It has changed. In fact, a place, there's a whole section of the map about as big as a letter-sized piece of paper that used to be intricately filled in, and today it's just a blank piece of paper. It's just been pasted over with newspaper.
Huh.
It actually been remarkably consistent. Only little bits around the edges would get edited now and then. So like it was basically this really old piece of paper, all cracked and yellowed, and then people would just plaster Post-it notes around the edges to change it. And recently, someone has just put just plain newspaper over it.
I remember there was a conversation like a month or two ago about what you would call unicorn meat, and I don't remember. It was like, something like beef or pork, but it was...
I actually really wanted to know that now. For edification, James, you should look it up.
I'll see if I can find it in my stream, but it was quite a while ago, so I'm not sure.
You can search for it.
Unipork, indeed.
It could have been something like that. Search.
Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go grab a drink really quick.
Map.
Yeah. Hey, Paige, didn't that used to be the ice dungeon?
Looking?
That new spot there.
Yes, I think you're right.
I wonder where it went.
Redecorating?
Apparently.
Maybe they're remodeling.
I don't like it when that happens. But, on the other hand, it's a lot better than here, where everything stays the same all the time. How boring can a place be?
There's something to be said for consistency.
Yeah, that it's the Hobgoblin of Little Minds.
I don't think I like that. No.
Tell us how you really feel.
Anyone who had questions about unicorn meat can check the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't find it. Google's not cooperating.
Oh, Paige. This is where that one gate to the underworld was.
Mm.
Ooh, you're going to have to go all the way over here if you want to get down there now.
Do you still have that flute?
No, I lost it somewhere.
Oh.
The clay one?
Mhm.
What's the fucking flute?
You have a flute? Why don't you blow yourself? Jesus.
Also, wave hello to our viewers, everyone.
Hello.
Several
viewers.
viewers. Hi, thanks for joining us for our first session.
Wow, Hitch, you're actually better than I think I am. That's impressive.
You lost it?
What? Oh, the
Your
flute?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably somewhere. I don't have it on
Do
me.
you know maybe roughly where you lost it?
I don't know. Maybe it's at the crash pad. I haven't seen it for a while. Do you need another one?
I don't need one, but maybe I picked it up accidentally. I
That's
will
okay.
rummage
You can
around
keep it
inside
if
my
you found
torso
it.
and look for it.
Oh! Blow yourself. That's a double entendre. She smiles with self-satisfaction for identifying that.
Nailed it.
Oh, Paige, never change.
I understand now. Quite
Hey, do you wanna-
cheeky.
Do you want to help me map the empty space here?
I rather have a compulsion to do so, so yes.
We should do that sometime soon. I bet it would keep the powers that be off our backs anyway. Give us a reason to be out there.
Well, we do still have to attend the meeting. That
Yeah, we
should
have
be
to
our
go.
first priority.
Just before we go, help me trace this border so we know where what we're getting into.
Yes. I'm going to cleverly create, or actually probably carefully, create a asset called Updated Map.
Can I assist?
Okay, so when you create this, yes, you can assist. But when you create, what do you mean updated map? You don't know what to update it with.
No. I'm looking at the map and seeing changes from last time we were here.
Okay. Besides
So
that, that's the only big change. Everything else is like someone makes a note that a river bend is a little straighter, or that there's an island here where there wasn't before, or that someone has changed the rating on a minor thoroughfare. On a minor thoroughfare, there's what's it called? A trod. From the freehold to one of the lesser markets that has been rated one more in safety. Like, it's gotten a little bit safer over the last week. And other than that, it's just tiny little changes, except for this big plastering over.
We want to get the border of it, of the whole.
Okay. So you want to see changes that are happening around the borders?
They want to know what the shape of the missing information is.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, so we know when we're walking into the unmapped part.
Okay.
And with that, I will be right back.
Okay.
But
Yes. So you're taking note of all the things that are near it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's actually there's a trod to it that starts fairly close to one of the lesser markets.
Awesome.
Yep, you can buy a passage into the trot at the market as it happens.
Okay.
It's fairly standard.
Oh, that's right, dice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da! I should get my dice down. What? It uses special fate dice, but you can use D6s instead. It uses 4 fate dice, which have two neutral sides, 2 pluses, and 2 minuses. You can use mine, and I can use my phone. Or
There's an app for it too, the
D6s,
Fate Roller.
like 1 and 2 can be minus, 3 and 4 can be neutral, 5 and 6 can be. Why don't you use mine, and then I'll use my phone? We'll get you your own fate dice soon.
I guess so.
Yep. There's a place in Janesville where you can get some. Or you can order some on Amazon.
Is it Gainesville?
In Janesville. Yeah.
It's cool.
We will get there. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. We can go next weekend. They're probably not going to have a lot of variety, though. If you want pretty dice, you want to order online. But I'm about to make another Amazon order, so. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I just realized this falls into one of my stunts.
Okay.
So
Which is?
when I carefully create an aspect with research, I get an extra one. So I'm researching the changes in the map.
All right.
And if there's anything else that you feel might be cool,
All
let me
right. So create a document, and excuse me, or just put it in the chat. It's one aspect called hop, skip, and a jump. Means that it's fairly close to one of the markets.
Okay.
And the other is, were you specifically trying to create an aspect or discover one?
Let me look at how the stunt says. She discovers an aspect when
Okay.
performing
So
careful.
you're going to
Interesting.
discover another.
Okay.
Which is
This is a trap.
strangely little information. Or it might be called new news. Yeah,
Okay.
new news. And none of the updates... Thanks, Barrett. New news. Which
Indeed.
is, basically, this is a very recent development.
Okay. So.
Like, within the last couple days recent.
Well, if it wasn't new, then it would be called olds, wouldn't it?
So hold on. You want me to create a document for that?
It would be helpful, or just put it in the chat. You can just put it in the chat. That'll be fine.
Okay. I apologize. I was like
No.
adjusting my tens unit here. I'm like, hold on, way behind. What was the
that
first
right?
one called?
What? One is called Hop, Skip, and Jump, and the other is called New News. 'Cause I like that. What? Stop looking at shirts. We're playing. Oh my god. I'm killing you. I mean, your character, probably.
Probably. Maybe your character.
Is Tavern Keeper up? What do you mean by up?
Do you have the campaign going?
Ah!
Mine says, oh, there's nothing.
Actually, give me 2 seconds.
Sure, I just didn't want to I wanted to make sure that I wasn't not on something that everybody else was on. New news. I wonder how you would invoke new news.
Probably if there's a overcome with old information or something. I don't know. If someone's trying to persuade us of misinformation, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe knowing that everything has changed, we would be more perceptive to notice what actually the current situation is. Instead of just being like, oh yeah, that was like that last time. We'd be more careful when we look at things.
There is now.
Okay.
No, I'm tired.
All right. There you go. By the way, we are using Tavern Keeper as kind of we're trying it out as a storehouse for information for this game. Because it's nice, and I like the team that makes Tavern Keeper, so that was for the viewers. So, yes, you is looking a little nervous and goes, maybe we should go see what they want.
Alright.
And just then, a very, very tall, imposing figure shambles into the room. Now, imagine every cliched trope of fussy, old-fashioned, academic stereotype. And I don't just mean gentlemen in Hornrum specs and a tweed suit. I mean, older than that. One of those antiquated, black college robes, carrying a huge book with a floppy hat. I mean, this guy decided he was going to take the ancient professorial image and wear it forever. It's a bit threadbare, but he doesn't seem to want to update. And he's even got a long beard. I mean, he's doing his best Dumbledore cosplay, really.
Lol. Did you say he interrupts us or gets in our way?
He shovels in.
Hey, there he is.
Professor?
Yes, which is what everyone calls him, by the way. Everyone calls him Professor. He doesn't ever correct them. In fact, most people don't know what to call him but that. And he nods and he says, "You children took long enough to show up." He's got a creaky, crackling voice that sounds like a fire crackling and dry papers rustling.
Well, traffic. You do know what traffic is, right?
You're wanted by the Queen. You better go see her.
Okay, traffic.
The Queen herself.
I suppose so.
What's the date and time? I'm making note of this.
Queen Elizabeth.
I don't know the date.
It's a Wednesday.
Sure. It's a couple hours after tea on a Wednesday. Sure.
A couple hours after yeah, I was going to say, keep in mind we're in the hedge, so he can say, when the sun meets the chicken and the...
He has no idea what time it is. He has no idea what time. He doesn't answer that. He's just like, he just kind of turns and starts shuffling out of the room.
Before he goes, I want to try to, let's say, carefully create an advantage that might help us in talking with the Queen. And I'll say, do you know what she wants to speak to us about?
Just wants you to do something.
Of course.
Don't keep her waiting. He doesn't have the information himself. He's just had to haul his old bones down here with his big heavy books, which, by the way, is chained to him. He has this chain, this little slippery chain coming out from under his robes that goes to the book. He carries it with him everywhere. You've never seen him without it.
Have I ever been able to read it? Because I would have asked.
Oh, no. This is called the Book of Days, and he doesn't let anyone else touch it.
What if he wants to let someone else touch it?
He doesn't.
But what if I make him want to?
Well, we'll see then, won't we?
Indeed. Should that ever come up. Fleeting spring.
Yes, so I look for an empty spot on my inner arm and write, "Meeting with the Queen, now." And then we can go meet the Queen.
Okay.
And I write that with my fingertip.
I'm about to show a picture of said Queen. She is extremely popular. She's the only... she is not the only female leader of the court, but she is the only female monarch of the court at this time. Sunderland is not quite as advanced as Oxford is not as advanced as Sunderland in terms of equality.
And what court was this again?
Okay, let me see. Can you see this?
Totally.
No.
I see your cursor.
I see a black screen.
We see nothing.
Nothing.
Oh dear. Okay.
Should I just imagine Freddie Mercury? Because that's the first thing that comes to mind whenever you say Queen.
No, you should.
She's a killer.
She's not a killer. Well, you don't know.
I've apparently looked at this link before.
All right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, you can see her on my screen share.
Yep.
No. Well, you got Pinterest. Let's see.
All right.
Okay.
A older model with a killer smile.
Indeed, this is the Queen of Autumn. Her name is Mother Marrow.
Okay.
You haven't really met her much. She always gives kind of the impression of being halfway there. Contrasting her name, which gives an impression of solidity and kind of vitality, she has that old hippie sort of thing to her. She has old eyes and a very serene smile, and her hair is just kind of wisps of white that kind of waft away. And she sort of always gives the impression of being distracted and halfway there. But she's always very serene and very kind, and she's got those thin hands with crinkly paper skin. You know how some old people have very dry, very delicate skin on their hands? Hers is hardly there. And so she's always seeming kind of like she's wafting away somewhere. There's no feeling of solidity about her. To Changeling, she looks like she's kind of carved out of very pale wood, but she's not solid. She's sort of, pieces of her are inlaid, and then in between there's just sort of this, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I'll get you back on that, but she's sort of very organic. She's all made out of smoke and leaf and curls of birch bark.
What court is she the queen of?
She's the queen of clubs, the suit of clubs.
Hitch will get down on one knee and say, "Your Majesty."
And she nods her head to you very kindly. Do you guys want me to keep sharing it?
Cage
We never
also
saw
goes. Yep.
Okay, you got it? Okay.
Got it.
Alright. And she nods her head kindly, and she reaches out her papery thin hands to Hitch. She gives him that serene motherly smile of hers. And she says, "Come up, child, come up.
He'll stand.
Let me get a look at you. Oh, look how you've grown. You'll be so big soon.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Just shooting up like a bean sprout, aren't you?"
We'll see. It's this air on the other side. I think it's no good for me. Sending us back to the hedge, I hope.
It keeps your lungs going, doesn't it?
It does that.
Well, you'll be all right. You're a good boy. She pats his cheek. This lady is everybody's grandmom. She is by far the most approachable of all the monarchs. In fact, you've always gotten the impression that she is the only one of the monarchs that realizes being approachable is a thing and chooses to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So she which is kind of weird, because for someone who gives the impression of never quite knowing what's going on or never quite being fully present in the moment, when she focuses on you, even for a second, you feel like you're the only person, not in the room, but in the universe. Or at least you think it probably would feel like that if it had ever happened to you. So she kind of pats Hitch's cheek in her distracted way, and she says, "You're a good boy, get up." And then she looks over at Paige and says, "Oh, and how are you, sweetheart?"
Paige kind of fumbles, never knowing quite how to answer that question.
Well,
Adequately full and doing well, I suppose.
That's good. It's good to see you children back again.
Good to see you.
Where are... And she looks around for the others. The rest of you, how do you approach her?
Miles would just hang back. Like, he wouldn't necessarily just go straight up and approach her.
Okay. Does he offer any sort of acknowledgement or gesture of respect or anything like that?
If she looks at him, sure, he'd probably, like, nod his head.
Okay, she does.
Bow his
Her
head a
eyes,
little bit.
whenever she looks at you, her eyes always kind of slip over you like smoke. But, in fact, her eyes are very smoky pale, like cataracted. Do you guys know what cataracts look like?
Yep.
Kind of milky.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to actually tell when she's looking at you, but she kind of lets her gaze skim over Miles and kind of gives him a vague nod, and then she looks at Mingsha and DJ and waits for you to come forward.
I'll step forward and nod in respect.
Okay,
And
she
not
nods
say
back.
anything. And DJ plays her a song.
Does DJ have entrance music?
No, DJ does not have entrance.
He needs an
Okay,
entrance
so
song.
what does he do? How does he greet the monarch?
He'll just give a nod of the head, but then he's a little more direct to the point, just kind of. So what do we got on the set list today?
She says, as you guessed, I have a favor to ask of you. As protectorates of the deck, of course. She likes to say deck instead of freehold or court. It amuses her. And she says, you may have noticed there have been some changes in the hedge.
Mm-hmm.
I asked around for someone that could take a look into it, and, well, someone suggested you, child. She looks at Hitch, and she says, we've heard that you have talents.
I hoped that I could go in after this.
And that you might not mind a bit of a jaunt.
No, ma'am.
So why don't you take your friends with you and see what's going on? Make a day of it. Have a picnic.
Friends
Oh,
is
wow.
kind of a strong word.
There might be a little danger, but it's nothing you can't handle.
I look forward to it.
Of course, take someone with you that can run back just in case you all get eaten. We'll want to know.
Who's the fastest? Ulu's fast. Ulu, if we all get eaten, come back and tell this nice lady.
If you get eaten, I'll get eaten with you.
No, you have to come back and tell her.
If you want, you could come back and get eaten then later.
I thought we were fairly clear on this. If you get eaten, it's my job to save that information and pass that along.
Does that mean I get eaten then?
I'm afraid so, dear.
Can we just all agree that maybe we should just get eaten in the first place?
I think that is the more beneficial plan, and strongly suggest that as our current course of action.
Mother Marrow is just listening to all this with just this kind of vague, distracted, serene smile. Like she's thinking, oh, they're so cute at this age.
Yes.
Like she's just mentally patting you on the head and saying, that's nice, dear.
Yes.
I'd be offended if you weren't so nice.
Oh, she's very nice.
Actually,
she's like
Miles is
everyone's
probably
grandmom.
still a little offended, but he doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, and another, of course, another information about you, for you about this, especially something about, it's hard to remember, but you kids have fun with that, and let us know what you think. Bring back a good map for us.
Can you do that, Paige?
Absolutely.
She should have a cartography stunt. That would be amazing.
Hint, hint.
Okay, so she basically tells you another of the court will fill you in with more information, and then she kind of pats Hitch's hand and is like, "There's a good boy. That's good. Lovely. Well, I'll see you when you come back. I wanted to ask personally."
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then she just kind of well, I actually should have described the room you guys went in to meet her. I was dumb. Okay, so she kind of dismisses you from the room. Actually, I'm going to use that. So the thing about the autumn room is it's always a little hard to remember what it was like once you've left it. So once you've left it, it's hard to remember. But there's an impression of olderness and grandness contrasted with a true and honest attempt at coziness. So there will be like this huge banistered staircase, but then there will be like a cozy little armchair right next to it. It's all very contrasted, and it's all very hard to remember once you've left.
Kittens. Hot chocolate.
Yeah, kittens, hot chocolate, and the big statue of Adonis that's marble and it's kind of there. So it's basically like, imagine a chubby homemaker and, you know, a multi-millionaire, like, Grecian art appreciates, like someone who is, like, and someone into antiquities put this together. That is what this is.
So Adonis cozy.
Yes, basically antiquities, but cozy stuff too. Yeah. Oh, that's really right. Yeah. Yes. So you head back to the main hall, and you're shown back, and then someone, let me pick an NPC, comes to talk to you. Oh, hey you guys, how would you like to meet another player one?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Yes. He's one of the only people you know who you think might have had the same keeper. Okay.
Nice.
So this guy is basically known only by the court as oh, but he'd be Hearts too. Actually, we'll say this is a scandal. We'll say he used to be Suit of Hearts, like Hitches, I'm sure. But now he's not, and it's kind of a oh my. So his name is Roseboy. Yes, his name is Roseboy. That's his name. Let's see.
He's not an Italian plumber?
No,
Did he
He's got
successfully?
a twin brother.
he's another hero.
How far did he get as a hero?
Like level 8-3.
You don't know? Can you see the picture?
No.
No.
Oh man.
Did he pass me?
Okay.
Shu, if I can interject for a second, because
Yes.
when you mentioned cartography, I
Uh-huh.
create an aspect for a map of cartography.
And
A
wait, you
auto
want
map.
to create an aspect that is specifically about being into cartography?
Yeah. It's basically an auto map. And I rolled really poorly, so unless it
So wait,
succeeds,
you want
I'll
to create
probably...
an aspect for yourself? You want to give yourself another aspect?
I'm creating a
Condition?
No, it's a created aspect. I'm using the action created aspect.
Not a permanent aspect.
It's not a permanent aspect.
Okay, what is it?
An automapper. So
That sounds
as
like a contract. If you have a contract to do that, you can do that. But I don't think I want.
I have a stunt to create magical aspects.
You have a stunt to create a magical aspect. You're gonna have to explain more how that works. That seems a little crazy.
She can make occult objects.
Oh, you're a hedge spinner.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just say that? Okay, you're a hedge spinner. That kind of thing takes time. You can create a little kind of mimeograph machine, like some little thing, but it is going to have needs, and it is going to have issues. Okay? And it's going to take some time to make, and you need materials. Okay? So you can do that, and we're going to treat it like a contract. So, as in, like, yeah, basically we're going to treat that like it's a contract of I can make shit. Alright? So basically you can make stuff, but it's depending on how powerful it is, it's going to need materials and stuff. How does that sound?
Way more complex than I was going to do.
Oh.
I'll just grab a piece of paper.
It's okay. Alright, I'll work with you there.
Okay.
Alright. Alright, so
Because I was literally using the mechanic, create an aspect that will be a one-time invoke of a... Yeah, create an advantage, sorry.
Alright. Okay. Do you just want to roll to do that then?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say you're going to roll to know how to do it and to do it, but you need to spend a fate point to actually have a sudden physical object out of nowhere. How does that sound?
Okay.
Alright, cool. Alright, I need to find a happy medium between the complexity of World of Darkness and the sometimes almost oversimplicity of Fae.
Mm-hmm.
This is all playtest.
Right. Yeah, well, basically, yeah, it is. It is a playtest. And that's what I'm already discovering, is I need to be a little more complex, but not too complex. Alright, so if you spend a fate point and gather up some metal bits and bobs, which you can do once you get home, but we'll cover it now because you mentioned it now. You can basically create a little plate, a little metal plate that has paper bolted onto it, and if you carry it, it has to stay, same point up and down, and it has a little needle which will move over the paper and basically trace the path that you're going and things around you. So the picture appears as you're going, and then when it finishes with one piece of paper, it'll just puff it off, and you have to catch it and keep it. And then when you're done, you can put them all together.
Awesome. Yeah, and if it helps, one of my contracts is Artifice.
Oh, you can just do that with an Artifice contract. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good. So, in time, I want to have 2 different pools you can spend from, where you can spend fate points or you can spend glamour. But again, more complicated than what we're doing here. All right. So, Roseboy meets with you, and he tells you, all right. So this is what's happening. There's a big shakeup, right? And
what's happening?
Well, nobody knows. That's the thing. People started going to the edges of, the gathering field where we used to.
Yeah.
No one's been there for ages. Castle's just overrun. I didn't even really like it that much. I mean, I would go there sometimes to be alone and think about things, Yeah. And then he remembers who he's talking to, and he gets kind of awkward. Let's just say his way of dealing with his fate is a lot different than yours. And then he says, well, no one knows what's happening to it. But here's the thing. On the path nearby, there's some medicine that we really need because the stores are empty, and I thought, that one there could go get some. His eyes kind of flit over to Miles, and then he looks away really fast, like he's uncomfortable. He doesn't even say Miles. He says that one, which is super dickish, but somehow he's so true-hearted and upstanding that it's hard to really call him a dick even when he's being dickish. One of those.
He probably had to fight through your level.
Oh, so he was before my time. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe.
He's a 1980s after-school special actor.
Yes.
Have you been in there, Rosie?
Basically, that guy that's always noble and good and helping old ladies across the street, he's that guy. The guy who's just so inherently good-hearted that you kind of just, like, want to strangle him, but he's such a nice guy.
But he's also not the hardcore.
Strangle a lot of nice guys.
He actually has recently been talking about leaving the Suit of Hearts. He hasn't really told anyone what he's thinking he wants to do, but most people are thinking he's just confused and having a bout of melancholy or something, because, I mean, he would never leave Hearts. It's so, you know.
So
Oh, he's saying that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Not to mention that his sweetheart is the page of the Court of Hearts, and it would just be unthinkable for him to leave. I mean, they're like the power couple of the Freehold. They're the people, no one could imagine them ever not being together. I mean, they're so perfect.
Have you been in there?
What?
Have you been in there since the switch around?
What exactly are you asking him?
If he's been in the hedge in that area since the...
Oh, no, I've been busy here, you know. She's planning a big dance, and so I'm running about, getting parcels together, carrying things, you know how it is. He acts like he's about to say something chipper like what, but he stops himself.
All right. Well...
And then he kind of pauses for a minute and says, so, do you still hang out at that coffee shop? I mean, that pub?
Yeah, sometimes. You know. We should meet there for a pint sometimes. Sometime.
Oh, I'd like that, actually.
You know what? Or if we've got to be on the other side, maybe we should meet up in the cemetery and I'll bring a bottle of whiskey. How's that sound to you?
What's that winking?
Whiskey.
It's not winking. It's a little twitch.
That's a bit, you know, rough for us, isn't it? But then he kind of meets your eyes, and he's giving you a look like, no, seriously, that's an awesome idea. Like, he gives you a very quick, fleeting look of, yes, please, whiskey, at the same time, basically going, oh, I'm way too wholesome for something like that. That's what bad guys do.
If I make it out this time, you know, we'll talk.
Right.
I'm sorry, just for clarity, were you in favor of or against the idea of whiskey?
Well, you know, a little nip of whiskey once in a while if we've got the frostbite, that's all well and good, but one doesn't like to indulge in you know, that sort of thing. Wine is, you know, the thing to have. And then he looks super awkward.
And she makes note of it.
He runs his hand through his crew cut, you know.
Go tell the Jack hello. We'll see you in a bit, I guess.
Right. Well, I'd better go. She'll be wanting to tell me something, I'm sure.
Did he describe the fruit to us?
What?
Did he describe the fruit to us?
No, he hasn't yet.
Okay. Hey,
He
before
just
you
said there's a medicine we're out of that you should go pick up.
what kind of medicine?
He says it's called Fever Bright.
All right.
And then it
The
grows.
one with the heart-shaped leaves?
What?
Reddish? The one with the heart-shaped leaves, reddish?
Yes.
All right.
Miles, are you sufficiently familiar with this?
You would
Yeah.
be, Miles.
Of course I am. Who do you think you're talking to?
I feel compelled to double check. Sorry, force of habit.
Mm-hmm. I know that. Trust me.
can make catch meth out of it. Oh my god. Oh, I love my players. Basically what it does is push up fever into breaking. It basically, Miles, you would know this. What Fever Bright does is it pushes things one way or another medically. Like if someone is in a general state of malaise and depression, it'll either make them crash or it'll make them better. If a pregnancy is hanging on too long, it'll either induce or it'll make things really bad. If someone has a fever that won't break, it'll either break the fever or it'll kill the person. Either way, what Fever Bread is specifically used for is to resolve stalemates, medical stalemates. Whenever a situation just isn't getting better or a wound isn't healing, it's a way to resolve a stalemate. But it's always a risk. You would know this. You would also know that it's not a commonly stocked thing. It's not like, it's the equivalent of if someone has, you know, a medical van, they'd always have, you know, like Benadryl and aspirin and morphine and shit like that. This is like the equivalent of a treatment for a very rare thing that you don't usually need. It's not something that a doctor would just have in his bag, or even that like a med tech would just have in their van. It's something that like not even all hospitals would necessarily have this or know where it was if they did have it. So.
Okay.
And you kind of get the impression he doesn't know any of this. He's just reciting the name that someone told him.
And who are we to deliver it to?
Oh, me. That's fine. I'll handle it. You know, don't need to bother the Queen over nothing, do we?
No, of course not.
Right. He doesn't look at Miles, by the way. If you guys are paying attention, you might notice he will never meet that guy's eyes. Even when he's conversing with him, he's looking at Hitch, or at his feet, or at his hands.
I almost want to do something with that.
Really?
Almost.
Almost. Okay. And then a very sweet voice calls from the other room, "Are you coming, Rose lad?" And he goes, "Yes, just a moment, my sweet. I'll be in." And he's like, "Ah, wow."
That was probably the page of the
And just like he resisted doing a very cliche verbal thing, he kind of, his body naturally moves into a cliched, stereotypical, like, kind of hero ought to go do something, and then he, like, stops himself, so he's like, and, like, puts his hands down and walks out. DJ, you know his girl because she's had you play at parties before.
What a bitch.
Oh, no! She's lovely. She's beautiful and tall and blonde, and she has soft violet-colored eyes and cheeks like rose petals. She's beautiful and sweet and fair, and everybody loves her.
Is this the knave?
She's the page.
The page of hearts?
Yes, she's the page of the suit of hearts. So here's how officers work. There's the king and the queen, and for most of them, the king is like the figurehead, right? And then there's the queen, who is kind of like the advisor. Of course, technically, Mother Marrow is the king of her court, since she is the crowned monarch. And then she has a consort, who is basically the queen. And the queen is like an advisor, a support, kind of a first lady sort of thing. And then there's the knight, who is, or the knave, or the jack with the knight, who is the champion of the court. Like, if someone needs to make a powerful argument, or fight a bad thing, or basically be the champion of the court, the martial officer of the court, that's the knight. And the page is kind of the cheerleader of the suit. It's the organizes social events, puts puts the public face of the court together. Its diplomat reaches out, recruits people, is the public face of the court. It does all the busy work. Now, usually if this was a job from the Suit of Hearts, it would have been the page who gave you the job. Or possibly the knight, depending on how martial or how social the job was. The fact that it's this guy doing something for Autumn is a little weird, but not that weird. Like, maybe he's just the person who brought this to the court, the Freehold's attention.
What's her name? The page.
I don't know yet. I'll get back to you on that.
Not paid.
Well, whatever it is, Hitch is gonna kind of like as he walks away, he's gonna shake his head and kind of to himself be like, "Poor, whatever her name is," and then head out with these guys.
Do you do that in earshot of him?
No, while he's
Oh, okay.
running away, he's just gonna be like, and he shake his head and like head out to do the stuff they need to do before they get going.
Mhm. All right. He doesn't like her anymore. I will say Hitch absolutely understands why he is with this beautiful blonde chick. Like, it's clear
Yeah,
as day
dude.
to you what's going on.
It's really
Clear
sad
as
to
day.
Hitch. Yeah,
What?
it's really sad to Hitch.
Yeah, basically. Then again, the way Hitch probably sometimes gets when he sees a pretty blonde with pink cheeks walks down the street, he doesn't have much right to talk.
That's true.
So yes, you guys are free to do just as you like. Once you go back to your respective homes or whatever, then Paige can make her special little mapping device.
Yay!
Yay! So, are you going to stay at the Freehold and socialize and try to get more information, which I will then have to think up, or are you going to go home, or what do you want to do now? We'll go for I think another 15 minutes or so.
I'm fine with heading home.
Yes, DJ would be going home to make a few special records for this expedition.
A road trip soundtrack,
Mixtapes.
a traveling soundtrack.
Not quite.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Well, ammunition. Oh, I see. Are you going to throw a shot at them?
What?
Do you remember in Shaun of the Dead? Throwing the record.
It's a Batman sound.
That was the second record I ever bought. The Batman soundtrack. Oh man, that's not out yet. Otherwise, you could totally use it. You could attack with "Kissed by a Rose." Oh, the original would be out. Yeah, I was thinking Batman Returns was Batman Forever because that's one with "Kissed by a Rose" on it. I had that soundtrack.
Oof.
Whatever, don't judge. It was the 90s. It was the 90s, don't judge.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. All right, why don't we go around? You can all tell me about your living situation. What are you guys all doing? Do you have a group hollow? No one bought it, but do you have a group hollow? Do you each have houses? Does Hitch live in a halfway house? What's your living situation for all of you?
My character is a librarian, and she has a very modest apartment.
A librarian at the university?
Sure.
Of course, of course.
And she has a very modest apartment that she would be willing to share with a person. Her second kith is Muse, so she'll often go to pubs on open mic night and encourage such things. Even though she'll sit and look quietly disdainful.
Aww. Well, then you
It's all a
probably know that occasionally on open mic nights, Youthlation, she shows up with a battered old, like, kid-sized guitar and sings mournful, white girl with guitar folk songs about love and stuff. And then she always kind of like shrugs under her hoodie and goes, "Thank you, and scoots back to her seat.
Poor Elation.
No. I think do the two of you get along pretty well? Like
I think so.
you kind of look out for her a little.
Yep.
Is she the one who shares your apartment, or do you share it with Hitch?
No, yeah, it'll be nice to have another girl around. So, Elation.
All right, and of course, there's a sofa for Hitch when he feels like when he remembers that he occasionally needs to sleep outside the hedge.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what his situation is.
Elation offers to sleep on the floor, I'm sure. Oh, Hitch is here? I'll just sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Thanks. So when he comes back, he'll usually he'll bring hedge skins and hedge fruit and stuff that a conscientious couch surfer would bring to sweeten the deal. But then he doesn't have his own place.
Surfer just comes in with a bunch of skins and stuff and goes here.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Sure. I love it. So totally. Is this a hollow, or is it just a mortal flat and there's no hollow component to it?
What makes sense? I think it's
just a flat.
Yeah, I think it's just a flat because we go back to the hollow when we need to.
Okay. She has a job that she doesn't talk about. She just goes to work, comes home. It's a part-time job.
Oh, you see, I'd feel the need to make a note of it, so if I press her, does she tell me?
Yes, but I haven't decided yet, so I'll get back to you.
Oh, okay. Something I don't get to know, that just itches.
Yes.
That's a blank spot on your notes.
Yeah.
Right. So what about Miles? Where does he live, and does he have a mortal job?
Yeah, he probably works at a morgue.
Oh.
For funsies.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
And so he would probably put himself he would probably buy something that is very, very close to a graveyard.
Okay. And
he would. I don't know if he would actually be okay with living with anyone, or if he'd just be like.
So here's the thing. Your character is basically exactly my old character Bellamy, so I'm gonna offer you his living situation for free. There's an old widow who runs a funeral home, but she's getting old, and her kids have moved away, and they're kind of interested in helping run the home, but not really, and they don't have a head for business. And she's got this big old ramshackle house that used to, they bought it for 5 kids, but now, there's no one to shovel snow in the winter, there's no one to keep the lawn up, and she only lives in one room of it and kind of putters around the kitchen. So she needs someone to take care of the place, and if that person wanted to help out at the funeral home, that would be good too. Okay. Is that the kind of situation he would like?
Yeah.
So he'd share a house with this old widow, and she's immortal, which means you can get glamour from her dependably if you have a dream pledge with her. So she's a steady source of glamour, and she's kind of just like this chill old lady. It's cool to have around.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
He'd be willing to do that.
Cool. So what about Mingsha?
Mingsha would have a house.
Does she have in the string right now, and does she live with them, or do they live with her?
Well, there's only one at any given time.
Oh, is there? I see.
Right. Yes. Until they decide the time is such that they don't want to be there anymore. And yeah, it would definitely be in a house and not a flat because noise carries in flats. Houses have basements. Houses have yards.
How were you able to afford a little house all to yourself as a fairly new out of the hedge? Was this good pledges, or or you left it in someone's will.
Ooh. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Probably like the first or maybe second person.
Here's a question.
Who?
Was this person mortal or changeling?
Oh, mortal.
Alright.
And yes, probably convinced this person to, yeah, like get her name on a will or something like this. And, oh, I don't know. If,
Okay. So her name was Eleanor Bailey.
okay,
She was wealthy, but from a family that had fallen in wealth quite a lot, but still had moved from a big old house to a smaller one. It's still a little bit outside the city,
perfect.
and it's just this nice little house. But there is a big house further outside the city that's in trust with the family. So the family lawyers know about you, and they're not quite sure why she decided to, out of this great affection, leave her little home to you. But, you know, she
They
was
can-
getting on in years, and she was lonely, and things just worked out, and now you have a house.
I can understand being lonely.
Oh. Alright, so write down that name, Eleanor Bailey. Yes, and the family lawyers are still not quite sure what to make of you, but they think, you know, at least she had some company in her last years, I guess.
They don't, they can wonder all they want.
You know, it's the 80s. It's a bit scandalous. Out of respect, they don't want to ask too many questions.
Oh,
Okay, so what about DJ? What's his living situation like?
Slater does not live in a residential part of the city. He lives in a workshop, basically,
Aha!
where he has the facilities to make vinyl records.
hmm
That's pretty much what he
So are
does.
we talking like it's basically a shop with a tiny little bedroom in the back and like
Yeah.
there's no proper kitchen or anything? He's just got like a little hot plate
Pretty
and an
much.
electric tea kettle and he's got a like little thing where you can boil eggs in it. And
That's pretty much his living situation.
okay, so he has like a little set of rooms in the back of a shop and he presses indie vinyl records.
Yeah, he would be very active in the local music scene.
Okay, and he sells his records in all the shops in town.
No, he doesn't sell his own. He prints for other local bands.
Oh.
He doesn't. He saves his own stuff for himself.
Oh, okay. I mean, the records he makes are carried in local shops.
The records he makes are not for human ears.
No, I mean the records he presses in the shops. They're sold locally.
Yes.
Okay, and then he also makes his own music, but it's like changeling stuff.
But it's...
So you probably work with Paige because archival is kind of her thing, to make hedge stuff. Okay, well you guys should
I'd
talk
be
about
down.
that. All right, that's cool. All right, so but now after you leave the Freehold, what are you gonna do?
Get packed up.
All right. So where do you go to get packed up? Do you have a hollow, or is the hedge your home?
I feel like I've got like a treehouse in the hedge somewhere, or maybe a couple of little hidey spots in the hedge. I
All
don't know.
right. So you don't actually have a hollow with like wards and doors and such, but you do have a few places that you've claimed in the hedge.
Yeah. Supply
I'm gonna
drops?
say
Is
that's
that
pretty
reasonable or
much
is
a
that too
hollow.
sketch? Hmm?
So that's pretty much a hollow. So write down that you do have a hollow. It's like a little 1-point hollow, but you do have a place that you can go that's like yours and safe.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. So, do any of you converse?
I'm gonna ask if we know what the terrain was like before it changed. So if we have any indication what we might be looking to cross. Now, like if it was all wooded, or if it was plains or tundra or
Would
mountainous.
you have spent significant time memorizing the map as it was before?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Who are you asking?
Everybody.
Like
So
the other
primarily
party?
Paige and I were looking at it.
Okay. From what you remember, before it was pretty much English countryside. There was like a little bridge, and there was a troll under the bridge because I like that. There was a well, a very famous well, because the waters were healing. There was a barn, and there were fields with animals in them, and there was a wood, which was called by everyone the Tulgi Wood, of course, and yes, of course, it's not there anymore, and there were lots of monsters in there, and otherwise, it was just kind of like English countryside. Like there were streams, hedgerows, fields, farms.
Okay.
Maybe a tiny little village in there somewhere. It was around, like, imagine the size of land you would call, like like a county, a small county, like.
An American county?
I'm not really sure actually, but like the land around one or two little villages, that kind of thing.
All right.
Yep. Okay, so I want to start the actual adventure next week. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to call it there, or do you want to go for another half hour and just talk and converse amongst yourself and character?
I'm down.
Or do you want to head back to the Freehold and try to find out more, or what do you want to do?
To find the what?
To find out more.
You actually both spoke at the exact same time, and I didn't hear either of you.
Go ahead.
Something about a market?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the way in is through the market.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Or
why
at
don't we go
least
through the
one
market
way
today,
that
and then
you
we
know
can
is
go
through the market.
tomorrow, or
What?
a week from now. If we go in through the market in game today, then we can start out and hedge next time.
Okay.
Are you
All right,
ready for that?
I will pick up
To
some.
do the market, it's gonna be fairly simple. So yeah, we can do the market thing. I bet.
I'll pick up some dried foods like trail mix and jerky and stuff.
Okay. That's not something you would really get at the Goblin Market. Do you mean you're just gonna go to
Human
Tesco
food.
or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go
Oh,
to
we
the
could do that.
supermarket.
Yeah. Mhm.
What?
What?
Yeah, we'll go there. Go to the supermarket.
I bet Hitch just loves the supermarket. All that food in sterile rows and plastic bags.
Yeah, totally.
He's just like, twitch. Ulation freaking loves the supermarket because the abundance of food made her cry when she first came back. In fact, I think Paige was with her. She walked into a supermarket and burst into tears because it wasn't food that she had to wait for and go fetch and combine to make better foods. It was just there, and she was like, "There's so much of it."
I was probably like, how do people ever die on this side? There's so much food everywhere. They could never starve to death or die of heat exhaustion here.
In the months after she came back, she would just wander to the supermarket somehow and just walk the aisles, just touching things longingly until she was asked to leave.
It's 10 p.m.
Well-
we're closing.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys? Who wants to talk about prep? So Mingsha is going and filling a knapsack with mortal food to take on the journey,
Mm-hmm.
and Hitch is off to his little hollow in the hedge to get his tools ready, What sort of tools do you have?
I mean, he's got a pack with like a bedroll and a looking glass and a grappling hook and some rope and
Your standard adventurous.
food, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Glass
Alright.
bottles.
Iron rations.
Iron rations.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. What about Paige?
Okay, so Paige makes a checklist. She carefully creates a checklist.
You don't have
She
to both carefully create a checklist here.
no, but I probably am about to create a advantage, like specially prepared items or something like that. But she creates she very carefully goes through a routine of getting stuff for a first aid kit,
Mm-hmm.
an emergency kit,
Okay.
a Swiss Army knife,
Okay.
duct tape,
Mm.
beef jerky.
She wears a roll of duct tape around her on each wrist like a bracer.
Nice.
Yes.
Beef jerky, a fishing vest with various survival supplies, and a pocket fishing rod.
You need to write down that list because I'm gonna hold you to that.
Love.
Awesome.
Okay.
Can I
Alright.
carefully
Fishing,
create an advantage?
a fishing supply kit, beef jerky, Swiss Army knife, medical kit.
Unicorn meat.
I still have that. It's not ready yet. Give it a couple days.
All right.
It'll be dried out by then.
All right. So write down your list of supplies. Actually, Joshua, you go ahead too. Write down what you have with you.
I have an aspect that is I can cleverly. Let me say it immediately, like the exact.
So it's kind of silly of me
So,
to.
I have a stunt. Well, I have a stunt that says because I have dungeon treasures, I may get +2 to cleverly create an advantage with trinkets and tools.
I see. All
so
right. Well, then never mind.
You've
It doesn't
got
work.
Batman's utility belt.
Yeah, excuse me.
I pull blah, blah, out of my pack.
Okay, Crow. I want you to read what you said for your character.
Okay. Ooh, my chat's going nuts.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
No.
Okay.
Oh, nope. I'll just come over to you and read it.
My chat's fine.
Okay. Slater finishes whatever small jobs there is for him to finish, and he's going to make himself a few special vinyls, and then he begins meticulously taking apart, cleaning, calibrating, and putting back together an old phonograph like a goddamn Vietnam soldier.
Why don't you sit up and show everyone your shirt? Check this out, viewers. That's
Do it on his own camera. I'm only seeing half of it.
Nice.
Check out
Oh,
this.
there it is. Oh, that is badass.
Yes,
Very
absurd.
thematically
That's
appropriate.
his character.
Very appropriate for my character.
I know,
actually.
it's actually really perfect that you just happened to be wearing that today.
This is my phonograph. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
That's right. All right. How about you, Miles? How are you preparing for the trip?
I don't know that there's much he would take with him. He'd probably just use a general like backpack or shoulder bag or something, and then like, make sure that he has like his surgical tools with him. And
Just in case.
well, I mean, it's a hedge trip. If there are any good times to let out some of that bloodlust, that would be the time.
Oh, I see.
And that might be about it. I was gonna say he might take medicines with him, but like if he were actually killing someone, he wouldn't do anything like be nice and actually like numb them up or anything first. So
All
How
right.
about people he doesn't want to kill?
One of the reasons why I include painkillers in my first aid kit.
Because you know Miles is not going to.
Because Miles is not going to give a shit. If we know each other well enough.
Oh, Slater, anytime they go questing, Slater always suggests everyone should bring earplugs with them, just in case.
Don't forget your towel.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Earplugs.
Bring a
Alright,
little
so
bag of them.
does everyone have earplugs?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, he probably would bring some medicine with him because not for whoever might be a victim, but for anyone in the group in case they get hurt, and that would include like things for suturing and everything inside his surgery bag too.
Okay.
I
So-
guess.
Are you adding that to your helpful list, Matthew?
Yeah, I put earplugs, a pack of 20. Because I'm like, I am pointing out, I am the one who saves, so there we go.
It's true.
Those things are
true.
cheap.
I've got
I
to
might
have
not,
earplugs that are
need
dirt
earplugs.
cheap.
I might just set up a
Eula's
counter
going
going.
to bring a jar of a special salve and her battered little kid-sized guitar. I mean, if she was a modern-day chick, she'd definitely play the ukulele, but that wasn't so much a thing. So.
I'll bring more
Totally was.
I'll bring more fruit and stuff
She could be on
because
the Star
I know that she's not gonna bring enough, and now she's so big she eats a lot.
Oh.
So I'll bring more food.
She still has all those pretzels.
Yeah. Hey, what do Hobbs in this part of the hedge use for currency? Because I am practically a Hob myself.
I would say little trivia, bits of information. I mean, it's a university town, right? So,
Yeah.
trivia, information, little bits and bobs of history, geography. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
then I just
yeah,
added.
then Hitch will go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, then
Yeah,
I just added.
I was going to say the same thing. So he and Paige are exactly on the same
What
page.
were you going to say?
We're going to buy an old pack of Trivial Pursuit and keep the cards on us.
Don't forget, if, oh my gosh,
You
you're
get
right. You
robbed.
could just carry, like, the thing of cards around.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's too easy. Also,
Well, you
Paige,
can make that like small change. They could want other stuff for, that could be like, oh, I'll let you cross, but you
a
need to
deck
give
of
me.
cards.
To be fair, they're probably not the first changelings that have thought of that idea.
Yeah, maybe not.
Everyone's seen that card.
I might argue that Paige might have been the first one to think about it.
Oh, that sounds like something.
I go prepared. Very, very prepared.
Are
All the prepareds.
you? It sounds like you are trying to tag an aspect of yours right now by saying this was your character's thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Trivial Pursuit was only released in 1982, so I mean it's not like the game had been around forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's explain how we tag aspects. Basically, if you want to say, I can do this because I'm this, if you want to do that, which is what Paige is doing right now, what you do is you give me a fate point, you spend one, and then you say, because this is a part of my core personality, there are certain things I can just do. They're just part of what and who I am, and this is one. And you can do certain things with it. You can re-roll. You can add 2 to a roll. You can remove harm, I believe, or ameliorate harm, and you can, like, basically do better on a roll. Or, in wobbly things that aren't mechanically important like this, you can just, like, auto-have something. Like, you can introduce... you can make something that you decide canon. That's basically it. So basically, this is a good example of how this works. Matthew says, I want it to be canon that my character is the person who thought of carrying around packs of Trivial Pursuit cards, and it hasn't, and I also want it to be canon that this hasn't caught on, so this is actually a valuable thing. And I say, okay, that's a pretty big part of reality you want control over right now. So give me a fate point. And basically, with that fate point, Matthew is buying the right to decide this about the world instead of me.
Okay. That's freaking awesome. I will use that, and Words of Wisdom seems like the aspect to tap.
Words of Wisdom sounds pretty freaking ideal. Yep.
Okay.
So,
So
someone
I'm
write
still
down in
looking
the
for
chat.
currency. So what else does Hobbs want if he's cornered the market on Trivial Pursuit
Food.
parts?
I mean, the thing Hobbs always
Well,
wanted.
it hasn't caught on much, but you can know about it too. I mean,
Yeah,
you are
you can know about it. Basically, she just means that the market hasn't been so flooded with that it's still valuable. So,
Okay.
Trivia information. Other than that, food, favors, protection, promises, little shiny things,
Okay.
Songs.
songs, stories, always very popular. Dreams, memories, fears.
How about
Um,
nips?
What?
How about nips?
Cheese nips?
Nips, like tiny bottles of alcohol. Because that
Possibly.
seems like it's a very portable kind of currency if they want it.
Yeah. All right. It's possible.
Okay, it depends on the hob.
It depends on the hub. Yeah, Oxford. I'm kind of considering making it in contrast, where it's almost not quite a dry city, but everybody is kind of uptight about alcohol and like looks down it a little. So his just love of whiskey, people are kind of like side-eyeing him over that. Just to have
Oh,
a
it's not his love
contrast-
of whiskey. It's his love of oblivion.
Yeah. You know this and I
different.
know.
He should explain that.
And you see, the Rose lad thinks as long as he gets completely mindless on wine, it's still classy, right?
'Cause
It's
it's
okay,
wine.
because wine is classy and all romantic.
That's why he buys it by the bag. Big old bag of wine.
Yeah. We're gonna have
Yeah.
a mom party tonight.
That's why he finishes a bottle in a single evening. Oh my god.
Classy as shit.
Classy as fuck. Yeah, basically. Okay. So yeah, this would basically be the time to create advantages and aspects. And create advantages, I mean. And making rules for readiness. As Matthew pointed out, one of the cool things that Faye does really well is rewards planning mechanically.
Mhm.
So, which is kind of new to me, but why play Faye if you're not going to take advantage of that aspect of the game?
Oh, that was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
So this is the time, not like in game. This is the time when we say, this thing is gonna help us map.
yeah.
Then we do it.
Because see, here's the thing: you can basically create situational or environmental aspects ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then you can tap them later and use them. And if you do really well, you get a free invoke on them.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to write down a few aspects for the market. The market is humble sale, and it's going to have the aspect currency. I don't know how to say proprietor.
The proprietor of what?
Proprietress? Oh, that's how you say it. And, tried safer. Wait. They're not very good aspects, but there we go. So, yes, I will describe the market, and then next time we will go there. Basically, the market is a church basement jumble sale. there's an Anglican church in town. It does a lot of charity stuff. It is involved in the closest thing Oxford has to a halfway house, homeless shelter, which they don't really like to call it that. They're more like, you know, we have this building, and if you need to, you can come by, but it's not any sort of, you know, thing. It's just, it's warm there. Hint, hint. And in the basement, there is basically kind of an ongoing all the time jumble sale. And if you go through a turnstile, it's basically the exact same thing in the Goblin Market. It's just odds and ends. And the people, and most of it's really useless and silly, just like a typical jumble sale. Occasionally, you'll find something really, really amazing at a really good price. But mostly, it's just, you know, Depeche Mode cassette tapes. And there are occasionally really nice old vinyls, occasionally. On the Mortal side, too. And both of them have a rosy-cheeked proprietress.
Is it the same person, or are they just coincidentally similar?
You know, I think I've just decided that the same person works both of them.
Simultaneously?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Which,
amazing.
if she's a hob, it must mean she's a sprite that has a mask, like Hans. Because apparently
That
that's a
would
thing
be-
in my world. Yep, and she has a human identity and everything. She's one of the only sprites in the city that actually has some kind of human ID. And the court got it for her as a thank you for running the Goblin Market, which allows greater shopping opportunities to Freehold members. In fact, I think it's a Freehold exclusive market, which is why the court helped her out.
Is Ulu there with us?
Yes.
Does she have a pack, or is she just
yeah.
going with her guitar? And okay,
She's a messenger bag, I bet. No,
Nice.
she's got an old military pack.
well, Hitch is gonna like have his pack on the ground and like be relacing his combat boots nice and tight, and then when she walks by, he'll open his pack and like sort of like hand her over a couple of mangoes and a pomegranate.
Oh, okay. It's like, oh, thanks. That's cool.
Yeah, we might be in there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I hope
Yeah.
not.
You're big and strong, so you can carry this stuff.
I am?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Okay. I mean, I'm not that big.
Oh man, you remember when you were tiny and I had to carry everything? Oh, what a pain. It's actually all right.
Well, I carried stuff too. I carried potions.
Yeah, that's true. And that one time that you got the key when I was locked in that, yeah. Right,
Yeah,
that's true.
I always kept track of keys for you because you always lost them.
I did, it's true.
She kind of looks like she wants to say something else when the topic of keys comes up, but then she kind of gives a nervous look to Paige and decides to not say it.
Hitch will
Paige
look up
just
at
kind of
Ulu
smiles at her.
and look at Paige and like squint his eyes and then go back to tying his boots.
She just smiles with her sharp little teeth like,
And I just put something else on the bottom of my list, a skeleton key. So
I created an advantage with my preparations and rolled an epic +7, holy fuck.
yes. If that's a succeeds with style, that would be 2 free invokes if you'd like to do it that way. Or if you want to do something else cool,
Alright,
by all means.
2 free invokes on well prepared.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I
You can do
guess-
it now, James.
Yeah.
Matthew, tell me about the skeleton key. Because
It's
if you want it to work in the hedge, it has to be a hedge object.
Really?
With your contract.
Does Contract of Artifice cover that if I spend a fate point?
Oh, I believe Artifice is... Animation is making things move. Artifice is just making things and affecting things. Yes, I think Artifice should cover it. Although Artifice is not... You're not a Ferist or a Wizened.
I am a wizard.
Oh, you are? What are you?
I'm an Oracle Muse.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Yep, Oracle is my primary.
Okay.
What's that?
So here's the thing. Are contracts aspects? Do you spend fate points on them, or are they stunts where you roll on them?
Contracts seem more like aspects.
Okay, well, give me a fate point, and you can create a skeleton key that will open one door upon your turn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I rolled -3 for a total -1 fate point to reroll. Never mind, I fail. Oh, that's okay. It just means you don't create any free aspects. How about it? Anyone else?
And
What
also,
else?
feel free to spend fate points on rerolls, too.
I
Yes.
just did. I still got a -2.
Oh! Ouch.
I would tag my need for repetition on anally preparing my phonograph.
Okay. Okay. So is that your trouble aspect?
No, that is not.
Okay. So basically, you want your kind of being really fastidious about stuff to affect that it's like perfect.
Yes.
All right. So what you're going to do is give me a fate point, and then roll the approach that you're using for that. And you can use it to give +2 to a roll.
Alright, my approach would be careful.
Yes, that's true.
So, what do
What you would roll the dice.
I roll 4 dice?
Okay, and then they'll even each other out. So, obviously, pluses and minuses even each other out, and neutrals don't change.
I would have +1.
Okay, so +1 plus your careful score.
So I would have 3.
Okay, so you have 3. Now, if you tag your aspect, you can add +2 to that roll, or you cannot.
So you probably don't have to, depending on the difficulty of the
You
task.
probably
you're
don't have to.
So, no, I don't need
It's not gonna. There's not a set difficulty for to create the advantage. It's just like how much of an advantage do you want to create. So is that a free invoke, Matthew?
If successful on create an advantage, that gives you a free
Okay.
invoke. And you can decide based on the table, because the table is mediocre 0, average +1, fair. So you can say, putting together a typical, if you don't want to roll against it, you can just say putting together a typical aspect is fair difficulty.
What is +3?
Good.
Okay, so wait, fair is 2, right? +2.
Yeah. So
Alright.
if
So
fair
you-
is 2 or better, he beat it.
All right. So what does that mean? Like, what does he get out of it?
A free invoke.
Okay. So basically, you are going to add to your character sheet an aspect that goes perfectly calibrated phonograph, and at some point in the future, you can use. You do spend a fate point.
No,
you have the
no.
one for
You
you.
Oh,
have the
right,
one
right.
free chance to use it.
Basically, you can use that as if it's a fate point,
Okay.
and you can like spend it to do all the things that a fate point would do.
Mhm.
Is that correct, Matthew?
Yep, and the aspect remains in play for the remainder of a scene as long as you want to spend fate points on it. So if you want to invoke it again, you can, but you have
Okay. So whenever you invoke it, it's going to stay that whole scene. So through the
So basically
whole...
what I've just made is a temporary aspect for myself.
Yes.
basically, yeah.
And whenever you invoke it, it'll stay for a scene after that. So if you're in a combat or whatever you're doing, you're going to say, my phonograph is perfectly calibrated, and you can invoke it and use it like a specific fate point once, and then after that, you can still spend fate points to do the same thing on it.
So how many fate points do I have?
Well, what's your weird? 2?
I Yes.
Okay, then 2. How does that sound, you guys?
Well, a refresh is 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And so if refresh is weird, then it would be 3.
All right, then 3.
Yeah,
Well,
I
what's
just
like
spent my last one. I've been spending like crazy today. And I already have ideas how I want to spend ones in the future.
So I just have a sort of a systems question that
Yes.
also has to do with what we're kind of talking about preparation. From the way that I understand the game, preparation is part of it, but also creating a condition happens when you act on a situation. So like I could act in such a way that I created a condition high ground that it would give me a plus to attack an opponent, and that can happen like in the moment rather than right now at the Goblin Market.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So, like, I could trip an opponent and say, instead of attacking to inflict stress damage, I am attacking to create the advantage that he is tripped.
So this is just equipment-based conditions that you're preparing for later.
Pretty much.
You're creating environmental aspects, basically.
Yep. I mean, and it doesn't have to be equipment either. You can say, I meditate
You can
and I
create well
create.
rested for yourself. So the next day you could have well rested for tests of mental acuity. Like, I'm unusually bright and I can think of stuff today because I got a really good restful sleep and a good meal the night before. Like, you could do that.
Okay, I want to see how you guys play this out because I want to see sort of like the there's the rule and then there's the culture.
Together. I have actually only played Fae once before, and we did barely anything with mechanics.
Okay.
So, and I've never run it before. So we're all kind of figuring it out together. Matthew, obviously, as the Matthew and James. James, do you know Fae really well?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Other than what I can derive from knowing
Matthew is the mechanics guy, and we're learning it together.
Cool.
No. And if you think of Fate, the full version, the actions are the same. The 4 base actions of attack, defend, overcome, or create an advantage. It's identical from Fae to Fate.
Okay.
So for all of you that have played Fate, exact same thing.
There is a copy of Fate Accelerated. Fate Accelerated.
Which is only $5.
It's extremely blue.
Yes,
And
I
they
need
have
to refresh myself, so I'm putting it up on my bookshelf above the.
Refresh. Oh.
Ah, refresh! Hey. All right. So, how do you guys feel about today's session?
Cool.
Awesome. I had fun.
Awesome. All right. I think I'm going to call it there. Next time we will drift through the Goblin Market and go straight into the hedge. What do you think?
I like it.
All right.
Unless we decide to faff about.
Unless you decide to faff about. We could do the Goblin Market stuff in the community.
Oh, okay.
That might not be a bad idea.
All right. So wave bye to our viewers. Bye, viewers. Thank you so
How many
much
are
for
there?
joining us.
Had fun.
Okay, I can end broadcast.